Hi, my name is Oz, and you can find me on Instagram as OzArtist and ArtStation as OzArt. For 4 years, I've been painting and creating professionally for animation and video game industries. And in this video, I will show you the process of how I did this background and how you can achieve a more paint-like style, taking this one as a starting point. So let's begin. The first thing I usually make are composition thumbnails. The goal is that our idea can get through with only two values, black and white. And after this we'll add more values on the grayscale to give an idea of lighting. Remember, always from the simple to the complex. When I'm thinking my compositions, I keep in mind three things. One, the focal point. Two, the hierarchy. And lastly, three, the direction. First, focal point. I use the most basic composition grid, the rule of thirds. Basically, in those intersections you can place the important stuff. Right now it's okay, but it can get a little bit better, so I cropped the frame at the right side so the thirds can fit better with the statues. Second, thinking in hierarchy, I decided that the closest statue to us is the most important. Second, the second statue and the ruins, and lastly, the small characters that just found this place. Third, the direction. What I mean with direction, well, I can explain with example. When you draw a character, this direction it's called rhythm or gesture. It is the force within the pose. In backgrounds, it's really pretty similar, but this pose is the one that takes you to the focal point. For example, here we are with this little dude alone in the desert, but if we add a mountain in the background, this will work as an arrow that makes us look at him. This direction can be anything, like a cloud or like a sign. Coming back to this background, I tried that my hierarchy works like a circle. And also I add some secondary elements so the viewer will be trapped in a loop inside the composition forever. Having already explained this, let's draw some lines. My first advice, especially working with flat surfaces, is make a perspective ruler. We'll go to layer, rule frame, and create perspective ruler. I choose a 2-point perspective, and then I set the horizon line to the one I established before in the thumbnail. After that, I start to draw some rough lines, looking for more defined shapes, and I'm always looking at my reference. Having our rough sketch finished, I turn on this little icon called change layer color, and be careful though, because if your layer window is too small you won't be able to see this icon. Now we can continue with the sketch. In this step I'm trying to make the element more understandable. That's why it's really important to have a good collection of reference, so we won't lose time trying to make something from scratch. And here we have the sketch. Now, a little tip. Before doing the line art, keep in mind that the thickness of the line can help us with the illusion of depth in the drawing. Okay, let's continue. Again, I use the change layer color button for the sketch and I create a new layer, but not with the normal layer, with the vector layer. The vector layer is your friend. Let's draw. Keep in mind the thickness of the line that I mentioned before. This is the foreground, so I use 7 pixels, and also don't forget to use the vector eraser. Let's speed up the process a little bit. And having the foreground finish, I add a new vector layer for the midground. And now I'm drawing lines with 6 pixels wide. And I finish up the remaining elements, and here we have the final line art. Boom. Now, you can ask me, how do I choose my color palette? And I will answer, first, think about temperature. The place warm or cold? How cold? 100% cold or warm? Can it be 50-50? Nah, don't use that. That's boring. Maybe 70-30? I don't know. I can explain you with this little square with a bunch of scribbles. It's a uniform group. It's a nice looking group. But look this one. What is this? A triangle? Wow. This triangle is different. So now is the focal point because it's a contrast element. Now, you may ask me, okay, and I will answer you. Think about local colors. Okay? The local colors are the natural colors of the things. For example, an apple is red, right? Well, red is the natural color of the apple. It's local color. So we have local colors plus the temperature plus the feeling. Now you may ask again, what the? And I will answer you with a question. Do you want the scene to feel homey, scary, or mysterious? And again, if you feel lost, just look up for some reference. Anyway, with this in mind, we can start with the color thumbs. These are color explorations that help us to find something that works well with this feeling we have in our mind. This is the final result, and this is a scheme of how I thought the temperature in all the tones. Now, flats. Here we are again. This time we are gonna click on our line art layer and click in that little lighthouse button. Then we will add a normal layer and we will place it beneath this new layer, like this. With this setup, we can start with the coloring. I'm using the fill tool, and remember to have these things turned on. Also, keep in mind that you can erase with this tool, clicking on this empty pixels button. And that's it. Let's see together this time lapse. And here we have the flats. I know these are random colors, but now we will bring again the color tone we made and start to replace the real local colors to the flats we did previously. And that's it. These are the local colors. But before continuing, a little tip. Color jitter. Do you know what that means? It's magic. With color jitter, a normal color stroke will transform into a stroke full of life and texture, which will bring life into your illustrations and colors. How do I do it? Easy. First, we will duplicate any brush, so we can just play with this new clone and mess it up a little bit. After that, click this little wrench and that will open this little window. Then look for this little tab and click in color jitter. Check all these little squares and then we'll test it. It's not working because we need to move these bars, and now it works just fine. With this we can turn our boring flats into something more interesting. Look the change. Without, with, without, with. Anyway, now that we have done all this, we're gonna start to play some shadows. Again, new layer, and we change from normal to multiply. I keep the little color tone on top always, so I don't forget what I want to achieve with this coloring. And this is the basic illumination. These are the colors I use: normal, multiply, normal, multiply. Okay, let's keep going. After this, I made some selection and paint more concrete shadows, and for finishing touch, I applied color to the lines. How? I will show you. Here we have some happy lines. I will add a new layer on top and then clip to layer below with this little icon right here, and then in that layer start to color in the line. With all this, now we can press the pretty button, aka add light effects. Pay attention. Gradient tool, we add a new layer between the planes and we use any of these function modes. All of them can create awesome light effects. Try them all and stick with the one you like. I choose add glow and turn down the opacity a little bit. Now, with this power in your hands, you can give much more volume to all the elements in your scene. At the end, I add some particles to insinuate some wind and add a couple of characters, and here we have it. But we can do more. How can we go from this to this? Well, I prepare a explanatory cube atmosphere for you. First, I set the line to a lighter value. And start to soften up the edges here and there. Add some bouncing light here. And the most important for me, the occlusion shadow and the highlights. I place some arrows so you can understand better what I did. Well, back with the painting. First, I changed the tone of the line into a lighter and saturated tone. Then I applied the occlusion shadows, which are the areas where two surfaces meet. Usually those are the places where you put the line art. In this painting, for example, between the branches and the cracks of the ruins. And also, I add some high tones on the leaves and on the edges of the broken bricks here and there. I turn off the effects so I can define and detail the statues a little bit more, and also the grass and vegetation. And here we are at the end of our tutorial. Hope you like it. And thanks for watching. Bye.